Oh, we're live. We're doing it. All right. I'm here with Brian Boucher. And Brian was actually just off camera while I hit record really quick, was telling me about some things that were going on here. And you were saying that you've basically got simultaneously to this recording, you've got your coaches watching this to evaluate you.
That is true.
And then also one of your coaches took it upon themselves to kind of shift the camera around a bit to get different angles and whatnot, which you had no control over, but was happening. So that's what we're going to do.
That happened. And he was like, I hope that's cool. And I said, it was actually this young man in white, Dan Holmes. He was, we have a really cool coaching development culture here over the past year and a half or so. We have really ramped up evaluations, not only on me, but across the entire coaching spectrum. L2s galore, got a couple of L1s. We have an additional L3. And we are collectively trying to be awesome. You know, everybody's at a different place in that path, and evaluations can be tough because sometimes feedback can make butt hurtness, but it's not what we're trying to do. And people generally know that, but it still hurts sometimes to be a hobbyist CrossFit coach and be like, do better. And but we all do it in the context of like, we're just trying to make the clubhouse as dope as possible. And so,
yeah, I mean, that's a good mission statement. We're trying to make the clubhouse as dope as possible. The thing about feedback is like, you have to learn how to take it. You know, like that's one of the things. There's many environments where you just, you receive it and you move on. And I think people will argue that you should just be able to take feedback regardless of how good it is. But I think that that's a skill in and of itself, is learning how to take feedback. But there's also a skill of learning how to give feedback in a way that it can be heard. And I think that just like coaching is something that we don't all know how to do. So somebody who's a novice at giving feedback will kind of blast you and you're like, oh, that was painful. So it's definitely a skill, just like the skill of coaching, where you have, and the fact that you guys are all working on it there is awesome. And you've created clearly a safe space where that's possible. But yeah, you're going to get some times where it's a little rougher than others. That's okay.
You know, like you can run a class and get a feedback. And we just recently, we'll get to this video. I apologize. We just recently had one-on-one conversations with each one of our coaches. So like we have our standard monthly meeting where we just kind of get together and talk the state of mid-state and like get everybody on the same page. But then we added to the end of the year just some one-on-ones and like sort of like the notebook. What do you want? It was very, very interesting to get people more on a one-on-one conversational level with some structure in a meeting and be like, are you happy? Like, how can I make this better? How are you doing with feedback? What's some criticisms of us? How do we, just really nice 30-minute conversations with individuals. And we get some real clarity about like some stuff, and it's all feedback. Like, it's hard to have hard conversations, but once you get good at it, it's great.
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan of transparency and hard conversations. And the more you have them, the less hard they are. The less often they are, the more painful they are. And it's harder to get that kind of honesty. But it sounds like you're leading from the front and taking it as well as giving it and having some fun. So let's watch this class. Is there anything special I'm going to see in this class other than the things we talked about already?
This is a pretty high volume people class. Like, I think this is like a 20-something person class. Okay. My focus is seeing in the dynamic and being the cue in the dynamic. Mm-hmm. So that's really where I was trying to focus. There's a couple of like one-offs I have with different athletes. Let's just see how it goes.
Okay, let's watch it. I'm in. We'll hit play.
Rows over here. You're going to grab a jump rope, a PVC pipe, and a barbell, and we're going to set up a few rows.
Oh, look at that. Look at that sweatshirt. That thing is nice. Blue, crew neck. Oh, big bear on the back. Damn, bro. Looking fly.
We got our swag on point around here, for sure.
On point swag. Did you see my new swag?
The light is on. The light is on. All right, great. PVC pipes, barbells, and jump ropes. Let's do. Oh, we got like.
It even says pat on the shoulder. Look at that.
Yeah. Ooh, I do like just Pat.
Like in the front
Just
and
Pat.
center.
Pat. It's Pat.
A barbell, a PVC pipe. I want you to grab a trainer bar today. Let's still grab a trainer bar today.
So what was that interaction?
So Alex Drake is new to CrossFit. We've known each other for years. He's going to be an amazing success story, but he is a little bit immobile, and he is a great athlete in regards to like the coach-athlete relationship. And he just wanted to know whether or not he should pick up a 45-pound empty barbell or grab one of the 15-pound empty barbells.
Okay, so first off, how did you build that culture? How does he know to have that interaction?
So I talk to all my athletes relentlessly. And so outside of the classroom, I'm communicating, as well as WOD blogs, interactions associated with, like stimulus. I talk CrossFit methodology, like on the side all the time, like a nerd.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, dude, I love that. I love the fact that that happened organically on his, like, he came up to you and was like, hey, which one should I grab? And it was just an easy conversation. I think a lot of coaches ask the question around, how do I have a tough conversation when I need somebody to reduce the weight? But he on the front end was doing that, and he looks like a strong unit. But yeah. And so, but the fact that that's built in, I think that's a really good thing to learn from for a lot of people, is like, if you just make that part of your culture and the common conversation, it just happens organically. People aren't inherently like turds. I think we just let some freedom happen, and the turdery builds itself in. So I love that you've created a culture where that's
got your
part of it.
Bam, there's your spot, Frito. Nailed it. PVC pipe and barbell.
Fancy.
So a criticism I get
trainer
from my coaching staff here is it's 7 minutes from go time to organize, but really it's just because it's a zoo in there.
It's a what?
It's a zoo. It was a bit zooey.
I mean,
right there, film right there.
That is a criticism. Like, ahead of time, you could have prepped things maybe, or whatever it is. But what I'm not seeing is, I'm not seeing a ton of people completely standing around too much. Like they're getting ready there. And it also seems like during this time, you're still saying things and you're looking around and you're seeing
a barbell, a PVC pipe, and a jump rope.
It's like you're seeing people like set things up and move through it. It's not like one person sets it up or two people set it up and then everyone's just puttering around and it's dead quiet. So you're still filling that space. So, I mean, there's inevitable times where a warm-up needs a lot of gear and there's gonna be a delay. Like, that's just
once you've got your PVC pipe, your jump rope, and your barbell, come on over to the whiteboard.
So again, it's like you're having maybe a couple, what was that time frame? Like 20 to 30 seconds of silence.
Come on down.
And you're still filling it. So it's not feeling like it's taking way too long, I don't think.
My man Fernando right there. That's my guy.
He's been Fernando in the his house. Let's go. I dig it. Hey, I like that green on green on green on.
What was it?
He's just wearing a lot of green, and I'm a weirdo. He's been my athlete since he was like 8.
Really?
This guy Ramon, he's been one of my athletes since he was like 9.
Oh, that's awesome.
The certified CrossFit coach. I have filmed myself 6 times. This will be my 6th time unsuccessfully due to some errors in audio visual, or I just suck at stuff. So just know that the volume of the class might just be a little bit lower, so this microphone can generally catch what I'm trying to teach you guys. The intention of it is that Pat Barber, or whomever of my mentors, assesses the class and tells me how much I suck and where I need to work on. So that
is not how assessments work, Brian. I'm not telling you I suck. I know you're saying that as a joke.
Yeah, I just want to make people.
On Saturday, December 9th, we're going to have our vendor fairs from 1 to 5. It's going to be dope. If anybody knows a Santa Claus, like somebody that does the Santa Claus thing, please let me know. I'm looking for someone. If you want to be a mustached Santa Claus, Jake, I'm looking at you. All right, I can whiten that bad boy up. All right, you can be my long Creed style. Maybe some Nickelback Santa Claus if you're into it. All right.
So I think an important thing to pay attention to is, like, if you look at people's faces as you're talking here. Sometimes humor can be self-serving, right? So like there'll be people who play the same game that you're playing, but don't pay attention to the responses of the individuals who are in front of you. So it sounded like you were giving like a personal interaction with that person, but then you saw the 3 individuals here smiling and laughing quite a bit, and it looked genuine. The girl over here in black, all the way to the left, your right in the screen, she wasn't laughing, but that's okay. Like, it's not going to land with everyone, but you saw the majority of people like joining into that. It wasn't a self-serving version of that joke. So it's good. I like that.
You're going to lift heavy. For example, I did 85%. I did 205 on the bar, essentially across. I did 185, 195, 205, 205, or 210, whatever I did. It was 85%. So it should be heavy-ish. And then we're just looking to find that medium ground of difficult but doable, good-looking, teetering on what could soon be ugly, but we're going to dial in on quality of effort, right? We're going to dial in on those good movement mechanics, but it's going to be heavy. And you're getting all sweaty, and your heart rate's going to be elevated. You don't have assigned rest. You're going to have as much rest as you want in between these 6 sets. Essentially, to fit it into this 20-minute window, this superset should fall into about a 3.5-minute window. Cool? All right, the first thing we're going to do is a 4-minute AMRAP. We're going to do 2 good for yous, or whatever else you want to call GFYs, 2 shoulder taps to 1 push-up, and then you're going to do 10 jump ropes. So good for you is back step, air squat. Shoulder taps are going to be 1, 2, push-up. And your jump rope, I want you to focus on being tucked and jumping high. Cool? Any questions about the warm-up? We're going to do that for 4 minutes. Go ahead and find your jump rope. If you haven't grabbed one yet, do so. If you
And so that wasn't too much, but it was a lot in one go. So you gave them the whole brief, right? So they have that in their head. And then you're like, okay, here's going to be the warm-up. And then you went over the warm-up and what you wanted to focus on in the warm-up. And it's not like that was about as minimal as you could be while doing exactly that. The other way of doing that exact same thing would be to say, okay, now we're going to warm up with a little bit of this. It's going to be a little 4-minute AMRAP. Go to your bars. We'll go through each one of these pieces. So they go over to their bars and you say, we're going to do a good for you. And then do it with me. Lunge back. Okay, lunge back to the other side. Push up. Do an air squat. That's 1 good for you. Do that. And then we're going to do shoulder taps. Everybody kick out to a position. Do a couple shoulder taps. That's a shoulder tap. Then we're going to do some jump rope. Here's some jump rope. Pick up your jump rope. Do a couple of these. And then move through the 4-minute AMRAP. And you might send them off to do this right now and do that exact thing. But if you do send them off to do that exact thing, you could have just done that exact thing. you didn't need to show them in the front.
need a PVC pipe and a barbell and a jump rope. Go ahead and grab that. Yessie and Eris and Ashley. And we're going to get right to it. You have 30 seconds. Go, go, go.
I like
I was not. I had just lots of A's in my brain. I wasn't. Don't judge me.
You got her name wrong.
Why are we?
See what was there name?
Brent? All right, Bobby. All right.
What happened?
I got her name wrong, so she told me the wrong name.
That's good.
At least I got Joe down. There's lots of names. All right, 6:30. Let me get the squad going. Jump rope, PVC pipe, barbell. If you haven't had it yet, it's all good.
Who's the little kid there?
10 seconds. We're going to go back step.
That is
back step.
It's Enid's daughter, and her name is it's Blood. It'll come to me in 10 minutes.
That's all good.
Ready, set.
You did show him once, right? Did you see that? You
back
just
step.
Now you're showing him again.
Air squat, shoulder taps now. So you're going to go into that shoulder tap.
All right, yo.
Shoulder tap, push up. Then 10 jump ropes.
Yeah. So again, it's not bad necessarily. It's more just like you could
good in the wrist, G-Dog.
Be like, we're gonna do a little 4-minute AMRAP.
Try to put that on your wrist, Will. Put that in your wrist. There you go. That's better.
And then
do it again. After 10 jumps, do it again.
I don't know if I need a microphone.
Find that balance, Gabby. Find that balance.
You definitely don't need a microphone to be
heard. Shoulder tap.
It's okay though.
Push up. 2, One on each side.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you move it around, checking on people.
2. This is much better, Will. Hey now, brown cow, that was not bad. When you land it, don't stomp. Just keep going like nothing happened. Try to put it, you got kind of like a down with the elbows. I want you to feel that down in the wrist.
Nice.
All right, we're already more than 1 minute in. Put it in the rest rakes.
Nice.
You're like here. I want you to just tuck those elbows back a little bit. Good job, Joe.
Yeah, and then just make sure that as you pepper them, you walk by, you check back in once you.
Just when you do that push-up, I want your elbows to go diagonal.
Jumped and
All
stopped.
right, pick up that jump rope.
Check back to see that he bounced a little lighter again. Your guy who's here, who's about to do his jumps, let's just make sure.
10 jumping the rope. Great job, Vito. 3 toe.
Yeah, and then if they are, you feel free to acknowledge it. So if you say, okay, much better with the elbows or whatever it is, just so that way they have that thing. But I love that you're moving around and coaching.
I should have acknowledged Drake there.
It's all
good.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, you're doing a lot. You're
Let's go, bro.
This is the warm up too. So like even just throwing little things out, like it's not as important as like later in a workout where you really, or later in the session where you're doing the skill work components. And you'll have plenty of other opportunities. So you're just kind of like peppering.
Nice push up, Ashley. And then next one, I want you to go deeper.
Good. Dude, I love. So I think for me too, one of the bigger things in warm-ups is holding people accountable to range of motion standards, because the warm-up is there to set people up for success in these movements. So like taking through a full range of squat, making sure the push-ups look good. Like people in these times will often show you.
Don't put your hands on your knees when you do.
But they'll show you how they perceive the movement and the value they put in range. And it looks like most of these people are hitting solid range. And the fact that you caught
nice chest to deck, Gabby. Let's go, bro.
You missed it. Did you see it?
I did it.
She just did a half push up again where she didn't touch her chest. The girl who you told that son of a gun.
Nice, Drake.
We've spoken about this at Midstate. Our push-ups in general at Midstate leave a lot to be wanted. So we are aware of our own stuff, and we're
diagonal. Nice push up, Yuli. Hips go back, Fernando. Hips go back on that squat. Don't drive those knees forward, okay?
So I think that if you know something like that, if you know that push-ups specifically are something that you all can work on, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just be like, hey, make sure in our push-ups, guys, the really big thing on this warm-up, let's get that full range. If you have to go to your knees, go to your knees. If you know that that's like part of the culture of where we're looking to adjust on that, be transparent about it and just throw it out there. Because I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
We are absolutely doing that.
Okay, cool.
But off to the side where they're not a trip hazard. If you're on that side of the rig, can I have you guys, Fernando and Fernando, and can you turn it 90?
It's like a Solomon's Keep right there.
All right, let's start.
What
did you say about Solomon's Keep?
Those assault bikes, like that amount of assault bikes, that's like Solomon's treasure. That's legit.
Ideally,
15 rowers, 13 assault bikes, 4 echoes, 2 skiers, and a runner.
Whew.
We use all of it.
Let's break that down a little bit.
Make it rain on them.
First, start by getting your feet just underneath your hips by scraping your feet on the floor. You can also give like a little baby jump, but I want these legs underneath your hips. Great job, Maria. All right, take your thumbs and place them so they're barely touching your thighs while your arms are straight. Then take your thumb and wrap your index finger and middle finger around that. That's your hook grip. All right, squeeze your butt cheeks. Squeeze your tummy tight.
Okay, so if we look around the group, is there anybody who doesn't have a hook grip right now?
I'm sure half of them don't have a hook grip.
So if especially if you coach it like that little piece of like, hey, this is what we're doing, grab your thumb, just take a glance around. Like that's the one thing that you kind of coached. You looked at feet. I saw that. They jumped up and down. You looked at feet. You're like, I like those feet. Then just take a hook grip, and then you can take a quick glance around the room and be like, okay, do I have the hook grip that I just asked for? That's the value in piecing it apart just like this, is that you have less to look at overall. And you might catch it as you move through. But like, if you look at this girl in black right here, who seems, I don't know if she's relatively new or whatever it is, but she doesn't want to take the hook grip. So she hasn't. Be like, oh.
So we have G-Dog, who is on our right on the screen. She's about 13. She's 13. And then her mom, that's the one to the left of her. She doesn't have a hook grip. And Jovan, I think this is like her second class.
Nice. I think Jovan actually took a hook grip. So I think she's got one here, but
I think
G-Dog's mom does not have one.
No,
but I was just if you, I love that you know all their names, and I love that they have nicknames. Did she come in and say, my name is G-Dog, or was that something that?
No, she said her name was Genevieve, and I said, no, it's not. And now it's G-Dog. And now it is G-Dog. Like, her mom calls her G-Dog. And
that's fun. That's fun. That's awesome, man.
Just for
Did it happen, Santa?
DAWG. Just so.
DAWG. Yeah, of course. Of course.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're sliding down into our deadlift position. It's going to look like this. All right. Stay there. Fix this round back. Get that round, drive your chest there. Much better. Knees back. Then flatten that about. Chest forward, like progress. Other direction. Boom. Right there. Great. Stand up. Squeeze your butt. Did it happen, Eris? All right, back down you go. We don't know. Nobody will ever know. Great. I want your knees back and your bum up. Bum up just a little bit more. Boom, right there. Feel that hamstring engagement right there? That's your spot right there. Stand up. Push through the floor. Squeeze your butt.
So you're smiling. What are you seeing?
He did the thing I asked him to do. And everybody's listening on my calls ups and downs.
Yeah, that is true. Both of those things are true. Do you notice you're in front of the person you're coaching in both of these?
Because I want, in my demos, I want to be in front of them. As I adjust them, I'm trying to kind of be on the side of them.
Yeah, but you see you're right there with them instead of like across the room?
I am definitely putting some tactile cues out there for sure.
All right. Is that your go-to? Is that something you enjoy?
I would not say that a tactile cue is my biggest skill set. I would say verbal cues are probably my biggest skill set.
Great. I would agree. That should be a better skill set or a more developed skill set if you ask me. But so far, it's been both the two people that you coached. You're right there with them. Let's see how it goes as you move on. Because right now you've lost everybody behind you, but that's okay. We're just in the first few reps.
Great. Stay on your heels, Drake. Stay on your heels. Back down. Hold it.
So I am working.
Back down to your setup position.
What was that?
I am working rows, and I'm only working this. We're just working the deadlift we're going to a clean. We're going to a squat clean.
Yeah.
Today. So
yeah,
I am working. So like, what am I doing as I remember this class? I'm working rows. So I'm like in my mind's eye, I'm in the third row.
Got it.
Knees go back, so the shoulder is slightly in front of the bar. Feel that right there? All right, stand up. Squeeze your butt. Bring your feet in. Bring your feet in. Poppy. Bring your feet in.
That's what I stand.
More underneath your hips. You're a tall guy. You got big hips. Back down you go. Thank you, Dash. All right, and then drive those knees back as you go. See that a little bit forward. Great. The shoulders are slightly in front of the bar. Perfect. Stand up.
What do you see there?
Where am I looking right here?
No. What do you see? What jumped out at you in that interaction and those couple reps?
I noticed here that I was nervous that I was being recorded. That there's a few things that I'm doing here, and it came up in my evaluation by my coach, was there's a level of unnaturalness of my own skill, of my own style that is occurring just generally right now. I'm being way too trying to be the most textbooky person ever because I very much want my L4. And so I have to do certain things, certain ways to meet those parameters. And I'm very robotic. I feel very robotic. Watching myself, I'm like, what is just, there's no flow.
Yeah. Well, what's good though is it's good to note those things and understand that there is a fabricated nature to being filmed. There's also a fabricated nature to the L4. So when you're in that setting and people are watching you and you're being evaluated, it's going to feel shit. You know, it's like, so getting used to it feeling different is okay. What about, so like you feel that robotic nature, you feel like you're really trying to, like, I feel like you're trying, go for it. You got it?
Nope. Nope. Turn those people off. It's probably a telemarketer.
I feel like you're trying to do your best, which is great. I mean, you want to do your best, right? But then when you get stuck and something's not working, you're like, that should have worked. Darn it. Just a bigger, so it's totally fine. Like we're working through some stuff. You had a bunch of coaches watching you evaluation wise. You're on camera. It feels robotic. Move on from that. Let's just look at how it's all playing out. They're moving into a clean, right?
Yeah.
So what we're really trying to go over now is a flat back and a good body position.
Right.
So which you can all, not flat back so much, but the good body position, having a good start and a consistent pull from the ground. The main cues for that are going to be push your knees back because people take too squatty a setup, or lift your hips up, right? Those are kind of the two big things that people will have on this setup position that are incorrect. I would argue that in the nature of like, this is the very first part of the progression, you're all going here, just stay at the front of the class, get a nice elevated view and command everyone from there, which might be your normal style, but you wanted to get in there and get some tactile and you're trying to be moving and dynamic and blah, blah, blah. For this, it actually makes more sense to just be like, let's take a big wide glance. Let's go, okay. All right, Keith, push your knees back. All right, orange shoes, push your knees back. All right, push your knees back. Lift your hips up, drop your hips. Pull the bar and tight to your body. Lift your chest up. Ready, stand and back down. Okay, adjust, stand and back down. Like just a few where they're like moving in and out of it, where the whole class is staying on your point. And it's just the setup of the movement, which can be done in one setting, like one position, if you ask me. Especially with your experience in your eye, like you'll be totally fine doing that. You might even do that normally. You just wanted to move around and work your rows for the.
Yeah, I wanted to show the verbal and tactile cues.
but it's one of those things where you only want to use it if you need it, right? You want to use it, and then what I would say is like when you get onto the one-on-one stuff, it starts to become a little bit more complex when you jump in and out. That's where you're going to get a little bit more handsy and detailed with the dynamic and whatnot. So
I think we start to go there. I think I sit more at the top of the room.
Okay, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, you nailed it. I don't know. This is what my children give me when they can't find their shoes in the morning. It takes me 3 seconds to find their shoes, but they hit me with one of these. We're going to bring that all together. It's going to look like this. Hips go through, butt gets squeezed, then shrug. Down.
So stand here,
go.
Adjust. Boom.
More hips first, straight back down. And go. Good job, Yuli. And down. Good timing. And go. Put those shoulders back in front of the bar, Frito. Back in front of the bar. Back down.
It might be a delay thing in terms of the audio to the video, but it looks like everyone's not quite getting to that setup position before you're saying go. It looks like they're slowly like getting there, and then they're almost there, and then you're saying go because in your head the patterning has been there. Just make sure that the whole group gets to that setup position before you jump into that piece. And what's great is like you've got a nice big class, but that does mean that things might run a little slower. And if someone's particularly behind, you can be like, hey, let's speed up getting back to the setup again, whatever that is. But just make sure everybody's set before they move into it. Because what you're doing right now is building the pattern for how they're going to pull. So yeah.
There's your sweet spot right there. Go.
So on that one, they all got there because you
Great. Back down. Stay on your heels for as long as you can. I will let you go to your toes, but we're not jumping yet. Knees go back, Randy. Better.
That was good. Go. Very cool. Yeah,
great. All right. I want you to now bring.
So on that, you were looking from the side, you were looking down that line. What was the dynamic portion that you were looking for? Like L4 wise, what were you looking to see?
I wanted to see timing, that they had full core, full extension of the hips prior to shrugging with their upper body.
Cool. Great. That that and timing of the weight shift in the foot too.
Yeah.
So making sure that they're
Which
not
I brought
pushing
up
through the coach. Cool. Great.
Out all the way through into a power clean. Your elbows are going to go forward and your hips are going to go back. Now you can jump all you want, baby. Shoulders slightly in front of the bar.
I hate a power clean with a PVC pipe. It's like literally
The faster you can get those.
Like trying to power clean a PVC pipe, you're like, wow, this doesn't feel right at all. Cool. It just
I don't know why I did that, because I gave myself that trainer bar right there. That's for me to use, and I just grabbed it.
but you
Actually,
watch
back
how
down.
people struggle with getting elbows through. There's nothing to pull against. It's like and I don't think it's wrong to do. I think it's totally fine to do. I'm not too detailed with my coaching right here. So like, I'm not going to be too critical of someone's poor movement in a power clean with a PVC pipe just because it feels so weird as a movement. Like you can look at big picture things, but it's hard to see the minute things.
You got down quick. You got down really quick. Shoulders slightly in front of the bar. Good adjustment for you to go.
Hips.
More hips first, Mary. Maria. Mary. Who's Mary? Maria. More hips first. More hips first. Drive all the way to the barbell. Back down. Go. Great. All right, leave them up. Leave them up. Elbows up. Elbows up. All right, we're going to do front squat. Hips go back and down.
Is that guy newer? The guy in the orange shoes?
No, he is a teenager, and he has teenage. Dash drives me crazy. I love you, Dash. He's not.
That's great.
That's
okay.
He's just.
But he's young and he's there. So
yes,
life
he's
is
a good boy. He's just not.
All right, send it. Find those heels, Gabby. Elbows up. Elbows up. Good. Down. Better. Elbows up, Maria. Elbows up, Will. Elbows up, Jake. All of everybody's elbows go up. All right, down. Down again. Hips go back. Great. Good job, everybody. Good job fighting for it, Drake. All right. We are now going to leave our barbells at a little elbow tug. What I want you to do, belt line, belly button, want you the bar to leave, stay there, but you pull underneath it. Deeper, Ashley.
Oh, look at that speed
coming out of
from the hips Brian Boucher
to the catch position. Be no different than the squat you were just doing in the warm-up. All right, bring it up to your belly button. Little elbow bend. Go! Ooh, I like that little speed. Not so wide, Will. That was good footwork, but it was almost too much. All right, back down to your hips. Elbows. Little belly button action. Go! Good elbows, Joe. Stand up. Last one, belly button. Little elbow bend. Come to your feet a little bit, toes a little bit, and go! Oh, I love that sound. All right, let's put that all together.
So what were you looking at on that one? Speed under?
So what I wanted to see there was specifically footwork.
Okay.
So I want to see depth, but I want to see that people are pulling themselves underneath the bar, and usually I can see that if they go from that high hang position underneath the bar. And some people they don't have that fast twitch to get underneath, but if I see them go from a pull stance to a squat stance, at least I think they have the fundamentals, even if there is like a power cleanness to it, or they don't squat below parallel. I just want to see that they know that it's supposed to look like this.
Yeah. And then when you're moving through it, that pull under and that stop, like take a big glance out, especially on the first one, maybe the first, maybe the second, where you're just like taking a wider view. You're not looking at anyone specifically. You're like, and go, and then look around the room to see if maybe someone's completely in the wrong spot. Maybe someone didn't even pull themselves under. Like the girl in black and blue here right in front of us.
She is so confused right now. Like
correct,
she is.
But you moved on through 3 more reps without assisting her in what she was doing. And granted, she probably should have known based off of the fact that everyone in the room was doing it. But what's cool is you've got this info, and you've got the language so dialed because you talk about it so much that you can move from thing to thing really quickly. but just make sure that before you move to the next thing, you're like glancing around the room, is like, is everyone on the same page? You know,
one of my favorite parts about this class is me and this girl are going to have a one-on-one where I completely change the workout for her and we try to fix this confusion. I don't think it's going to happen for a little while in the class, but we get to her. We don't get to her during the progression, but we get to her.
Cool.
Together, we're going to do a squat clean. It's going to look like this. Cool. All right, down to your shins. Shoulders in front of the bar, shoulders in front of the bar. Good adjustment. Knees go back a little bit. That'll help you. Go.
Yeah.
Hips go first, Ashley, then shrug.
Much better in terms of standing in one place and making those adjustments. I think this is probably more your style, but you're trying to get in there and do all that one-on-one stuff. The problem is, like, you can't with a group this size. Like, with a group this size, you're kind of fucked when it comes to being able to move around and like, I'm going to get in and I'm going to do it. Like, you can to some degree. If someone's like the girl in blue here, it might be an opportunity to be like, oh, I'm going to come over here and do one like whisper cue of like, okay, on this next one, just I want you to deadlift it up. All right, the rest of us ready? And, you know, like where you come close to say something a little bit more intimately that was specific to her. But in general, when you have a group this large, it has to be a lot more big picture, like peppering stuff out there.
All right, back down, reset your feet. Go! Two patient Fernando in green. More hips first. You're being a little bit too slow through the knees to the hips. Get aggressive. All right, back down.
There's two Fernandos back, like sitting.
Nice. You had to do Fernando in green.
And go! Yeah, Fernando, that's way more aggressive.
Good, way to check back in.
All right, put your PVC pipes down.
I like that.
All right.
Looks like we're in a first-person shooter with this gun sticking out the side there.
Right.
First thing I want you to think about on this dip, we got to go from shoulder to overhead now. Chest stays up. Knees go forward. Chest stays up. Heels stay down. All right, keep it simple, stupid. Keep your heels down. Knees go forward. Go. Keep that chest up. Do not let that chest come forward. Good. Don't let that chest come forward. A little bit more. Go a little bit deeper. Too much, Maria. I want the... Yeah, still too much. Give me a little. You're like dunking the chicken nugget. You've got all the ketchup on that chicken. I just need it a little dipped. A little dip. All right, ready? Knees go forward. Little dip. Good. Bring your feet up a little bit. Dash. Bring it in. Good. You two, Ian, if there's a lot of kids in class. Sorry. All right. Little dip. Little dip. Nailed it. All right. Now jump. Dip and jump.
So I want to be pretty clear, like the level of engagement you have and the progressions and all the stuff that you're doing, it's great, man. Like this is few and far between do it as well as this. And this is really cool, like how much effort you're putting into this whole class. And eventually you're going to get to people who you're not currently seeing, you know, like that's the case. The things I would offer you in terms of where you're standing and what's going on, like that's just to become a little bit more efficient, to see things a little quicker. And that's like because you're there, like it's 90% of people I wouldn't give this feedback. I just trained in New Zealand at I dropped into 3 different gyms, and every single one, I didn't get a single class that was even remotely close to this. Like not even close. Like I like literally every gym I went to, the guy said the entire warm up and the entire workout and all of the components at the beginning of class, like a 15-minute brief, and then was like, okay, go. And I was like, what the hell was that? And so understand that this patterning that you have, and like, it's really good. It's just there, you can still be better. Like, that's why we're going over
always
this.
We're never going to be better.
And leg drive.
So like the girl here in black, like you saw her dipping forward a whole time, you know? And I love how he paused with your buddy, like 3 feet off the ground. That's awesome.
Such a good dude.
That's a good pause.
Look at that hip extension with the upright torso.
Totally. Another thing that I would say is like, you're currently going through this without a PVC pipe, which is totally fine. And I think right now you're trying to treat this as like a level 4, like we're going through the progression, we're going through this whole piece. In a class setting, oftentimes it's not their first time doing this movement. They should have done it at some point in time. So the progression can be done with, okay, put the PVC pipe on your shoulders. We're just going to jump and land. Everybody jump and land. Okay, now jump and land with the hands over head. Boom. Like that's the whole progression I would use for most of the time I'm jerking in a class setting, unless jerk was the only movement for that day. But this is a clean and jerk. And I think there's so much to think about that it might be, I don't know. There's a time and place for putting the PVC right down. But I think you're
back to my self-assessment of robotic and contrived. There's just certain things I do in this particular class that I'm just like, that was unnecessary.
Right. But the reason you would do a dip and drive with no hands on the shoulders is to see what their torso is doing, and which is exactly what you used it for. You just didn't quite catch everyone. That's
good. Now put your elbows forward. This is going to be your front rack that's catching. Now imagine you just catch the barbell. Bring your elbows down a little bit. This is your press position. All right? Little dip, jump. Great. One more time, little dip, jump. Oh, I love that stomp. That's balance. All right. Soon as your hips go all the way through, that's when I want you to punch. Ready?
I'm sorry for my jerk.
Thumbs.
We're not going there again. My jerk is terrible.
Elbows down a little bit, Ashley. That's your press position.
We're going to ignore it.
Well, I mean, what I would say is that when you're demoing, so what's interesting is I think this is actually a good point. So when you're demoing, you should demo perfect, as perfect as you can. And what you demoed was a jump, punch, and land. So like a jump and land with your hands over your head. You demoed what you're saying, which is good. But what's better, I think, would be to say the things of jump and land with your hands over your head. Or we're not talking about timing here. We're talking about like making it, but then show a perfect jerk. So be extra, because you did like a big shoulders down, jump, punch, land. You did what most of them are going to do. But what I would say is, like, if you said the language of jump and land with your hands over your head, it's going to look like this, and you showed them a jerk, then what you could do is, if people did that, you're great. And if they didn't, then you can adjust to that. Okay, really think torso upright. But you showed everyone like a jump really far forward. So yeah. I think it's not bad what you did, but what I would say is make your movement exactly what you want to see. And then say the things that make them internalize it in a way that's better.
Got
it. Everyone's like, oh shit. All right, we're doing the split jerk today. If you snowboard, if you skateboard, that front foot, that foot that whichever one you navigate with, is which one you kick a soccer ball with, that's the one that's most likely going to go forward. It's going to go in line with your shoulders. So it's going to go forward and diagonal. And simultaneously, that back foot's going to go back and diagonal. Everybody find that position here.
Yeah, so again, the type of progression that I would use for a day like this, instead of the one that you just did, and this is totally, you can do whatever. Like the way you did it's fine. But it's pretty granular how far you brought it back. I would probably go, okay, we're going to do a couple presses because we haven't gone overhead, right? So everybody pick up your bar, give me a press. And it's a PVC pipe or an open bar. Okay, hold it, adjust the position, hold it, adjust the position. Okay, now we're going to do a push press. Use your hips and legs this time. Like do a couple push presses. And then I'm like, okay, we're going to do a push jerk, but all I want you to think about is jumping and landing with your hands over your head. Put the hands on your shoulders, boom, jump and land with your hands over your head. And then they put it down. So you do a few of those. Hey, jump a little harder. Hey, sit back a little bit more. Shoulders up a bit more upright. And then I would go into, okay, today's movement is a split jerk, because that's the big different piece. And I'd be like, this is what we're going to learn today is the split jerk. And then go into the teaching of that, just because that's where it separates and that's what makes it different. And they all kind of know the jump and land. So if you were to do it again, that's the direction I would break this down. But I know that you did it the way you did it because that's what's in the book for teaching a push jerk. But in a class setting, I think, especially with relatively not advanced, but people who've been doing it a while.
There's some gangsters. There's some gangsters in this class right
now. Totally. You don't need to get as granular. And I think this is actually a very common thing that people will be like, my coach uses progressions too often. And I've seen this in really experienced gyms from like really experienced coaches where they treat every class like it's a level 1. And I'm like, these aren't fucking level 1 people. You don't need to break down the progression for the air squat every time you teach it. You say, hey, get to your squatting stance. When I say down, you go down. When I say up, you come up. And then you look around, you go, widen your stance, lift your chest up, drive your knees out, lift your elbows up. Like, you don't need to break it down every time because people don't need that shit. Like, once it gets more complicated and you pick one thing in the day, like this, then you can break that one piece down a little bit more. And then just with the rest of it, your eye just needs to be a little bit more on fire. Okay, let's see where you break the split jerk down.
More, Maria, more, a little bit more so the back heel is up. No, send that back leg back. Good, now that back heel's up. All the toes are forward. Hips are forward. Raise your hands up in the air. To finish the lift, 1, 2. Front foot first. All right, let's do it in real time now. Thumbs on shoulders. It's going to look like this. All right, let's do it all together and go. Boom, send it, Frito, send it. That way we get locked out elbows fast. Locked out elbows fast. Back down. Go.
Good. So I think as a general theme, as I'm looking around it, when you have big dynamic movements, I want you to take a beat in between each one of the movements to adjust stances and grips. So to adjust that finished position right now. So like you look around the group, you're going to see a bunch of people flat-footed. You're going to see a bunch of people too narrow. You're going to see a bunch of people not deep enough. You're going to see a bunch of people hips aren't square. Like take that beat in between. You don't need to get to the next stage as quickly. I would just take that moment to be like, okay, girl in blue, widen your stance, drive your knee back, drop a little bit deeper. Guy in orange shoes, make sure you're split. You go blah, blah, blah. Like just hold everybody there to like get those finish positions a little bit more dialed because I think you're moving on really quickly to the next rep. But you can use those in-between reps to catch things. And then what might happen is sooner you'll find like, oh, the girl in blue has no idea what we're doing, you know, and you might catch that in how she's like back when we were doing the clean, she was doing with the pull unders. She like literally just stood there when everybody else was dropped to the bottom. She stood there with her arms bent and you would have been like, make note of that. Okay, wait, everybody hold that position, get down to the bottom, drive your knees out, up, pull your elbows through, drop under. Okay, stand on up. All right, we're going to go into the next one. And then your eye goes shunk and it goes over to her. And it gives you that moment of like the clarity of like, she's not going to be in that right position. Then she does it. And you're like, oh, drop yourself on her.
If thinking into my own brain at this moment, I'm aware that Eris is very confused. And because the loading just doesn't actually even exist, I'm selectively ignoring her and I'm going to go back to her later and we do something. So I've just basically just been like, just move your body and be strange. And I'm going to get through this progression. And then when this thing gets going and you put a little bit of weight on that barbell, I change her workout.
Totally. And that's great with that one girl. There are probably 5 people in this room who could be adjusted right now in between each rep. And I think and what I was using her as an example for is like, maybe she wouldn't be so lost right now and be doing 50 reps completely confused if you would have adjusted her with the first hang clean in the very beginning. And I totally get like selectively ignoring and doing that whole piece, but you could have maybe done it sooner to the point where you wouldn't have found yourself needing as much individual attention later. And that's all I'm saying.
It's fair. It's a fair point.
Cool.
One more time and down on thumbs and go. Oh, the enthusiasm.
So like there, stop, set your position, adjust. Okay, stand. And we're going to go into this next one.
Enthusiasm is palpable. All right, put your PVC pipes off to the side, grab the barbell.
They didn't even use their PVC pipes.
We're going to do the full dance. The full dance is...
Just as a teaching point though, what is the width of a split jerk?
The width should be landing shoulders width apart. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it should be your squat stance.
It should be your squat. It should be your squat stance. Yes. Yeah,
and I think one of the teaching points that I always see not missed but misunderstood is that people go into a lunge. So they'll split, and they'll go like boonk, and they'll come into like almost like a tightrope walking.
Yeah, call it
version of a lunge.
walking the tightrope.
One point I would always do right at the beginning of a split jerk is say, hey, everybody get to your squat stance. Look at everybody, make sure they're in their squat stance, and say, okay, take one step straight forward with the front foot, one step straight back with the back foot, then go up into that position and be like, note how this is the same width as your squat stance. So when you're splitting, you don't go, you go out,
Yes.
and that's one point I like to make, because I see more often than not with new people, they want to split straight. They're like, this will be stable. And you're like, that's not stable. So just watch for that in your teaching progressions. Feel free to add it.
You would drop it, reset your feelings, and do it again for the workout.
Reset.
We're just going to do one here. All right, bring it to your shins. We're doing a full squat clean. Bring your feet in. Full squat clean, and then leave it on your shoulders.
Reset your feelings. I'm into it.
Flatter back, Mr. Drake. Right here. Right here. Feel this right here?
Yeah. So again, like, why are those two people so slow to get their barbells, or they didn't get one in the beginning? Is that it?
Chest forward like a proud gorilla. Nice.
Because they were late. The girls that got their names wrong. They were late to class.
Got it.
Good squats, everybody. Great elbows.
So
just missing Joe over here, just doing
clean
jerks.
Cleanish. I don't know. I'm looking all over.
Yeah.
I love how they're looking at each other right now. They're scared. They're like, you got this. I got this. You got this. I don't know what's going on.
They're both pretty new here. This is a few weeks old, and they've come a long way. But they're both looking at each other like, what the hell?
Of course. And this is about as complex as it gets.
Now we're going overhead. Footwork, go. Nice job, everyone. Front foot forward. Great. Back down to your.
I mean, not everyone, but
no.
Yeah, it was good.
Half the room.
This is going to be rep number 2. You're setting yourself up back for success. I just want your shoulders slightly in front of the bar. Good. I just still want your shoulders slightly in front of the bar. Good. And send it. Go. You got it. Go, Harris. Go. Blam. Squat. And we'll go overhead. Go. Great job, Joe. Good job, Frito. Great job, G-Dog. Good job, Maria.
So just for context, Joe is the girl that's closest to us. So I'm over there, and I saw her in that split position. Whatever I said, good job.
Good. And now just go overhead.
Everyone knows what was good.
Got it.
Go overhead. Ready? And yeah, you nailed it. And hold on to it like it's heavy, like it wants to fall on your head. All right, put your barbells down. I want you to bring weight to your barbell.
What are you feeling right now, Brian?
I finished my progression, and I'm in the center of the room, so I'm a little being a little hard on myself here.
That's what's going on in your brain right now? You're not during the class, but you right now, me and you, we're here. We're doing this.
Here. How do I feel right now? Right now,
right.
I think that I have a overcomplicated progression for the squat, clean, and jerk. And I feel like I missed about 25% of the class in regards to like their own movement throughout that progression. Probably have 5 people. Probably have 5 people I haven't even seen yet.
Right.
Back of the room, I haven't seen. Eris, that's the first time I even acknowledge her. And so just was like missing some of the movement. Not everybody got something there.
So, but are they all having a good time?
Oh yeah, we're about to have a banger of a workout right now.
Are they all moving decent?
They're all moving safe. So
yeah.
So that's a win.
Right. So what I'd like to note is that you have them all moving well. They've been engaged the whole time. They are moving. I say not well, safe, like you said. Yeah. Safe. They are all safe. Everyone's got a flat back. Everyone's, pushing for range of motion pieces. Do they all know exactly what they're doing? No. Could you have maybe from the front of the class caught some of these things earlier in progressions and how they're going through? For sure. Could you not be in the middle of a class teaching as soon as you move to the dynamic portion of a complex movement? For sure. Are there things you can get better at? For sure. But in general, what I want to note is like how much you've engaged this and kept them moving. Like this is the type of class where like there is so much complexity, and someone would be like, well, how do you take all the time to just teach one thing? It's like, this is how, like this is good. And there's still stuff that can be jumped in and missed. So great overall. So don't beat yourself up if you're hearing me say the things that I'm saying and seeing the things that we're seeing. Cause like, this is 2020 hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Like
sure.
I'm guarantee you all these people walked away from the class and like, that was banging. Yeah, that was good. I moved good. I improved some, like, so this is good.
What's
I'm
interesting is that we had the holiday break between me filming this and holiday break. I worked that whole time. But it's been a little while since I look at this class. So I'm actually looking at it like with new eyes. Like I watched this whole class before I sent it, and I basically forgot it. So I'm really watching myself like a second time, which is kind of cool.
Watching yourself is good. I mean, I think it's extremely humbling when you watch yourself. Like you watch yourself and you're like, oh, I can be better. Like no matter who you are, like if you don't watch yourself and go, oh, I could be better, then and you got your head pretty far up your ass. Like that's just the reality of it. Like the being able to watch it after the fact is huge. So I love the fact that you're doing it.
Bring like a bunch of weight to the party. What do you think 50% is today? Bring that stuff. What do you think 85% is? Bring that stuff. 45 pounders, 35 pounders, 15s, 10s, 5s, 2.5s. All
I would just say here, I would probably say something like, all right, we're going to go get some load. Put your PVC pipes away on the way down and then pick up a
the
lightweight.
things.
So just make sure that
I got you, Eris. I got you. May I show you? Okay, great. So you're going to do 50 jumping rope. Don't overthink it. We're just going to do 50 jump ropes. Single unders, if you will. Then you're going to bring it to your shins like this. A little jump, absolutely. Now you're here. Yep, and then you're going to put it down. Shake it out. And then you're going to do it again. And then however much rest you need between picking that jump back, feeling confident, pick that jump rope back up, do your 50 jump ropes, and then do this again at a slightly heavier weight that looks good for you today. All right? It is. Let's do it right now. Let's see what it looks like right now.
Good. I'm glad that you stuck with her.
Great. All the way to your skin. Good. And then stare forward so your belly gets tight. Great. And I just want your knees a little bit more back and your shoulders a little bit more forward with the barbell still touching your skin. Wonderful. Ready, set, go. All the way up. Hips go back. Elbows go down. Oh, just happened. All right. Now from here, bring your feet back together. And this is going to be a second exercise. One and then the other. The clean and then the jerk.
When I go from here,
you're going to, yep. And then you're going to punch to the ceiling.
So when I squat down from there, I get.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Now stand all the way up, but it's still up in your hands. Nailed it. You just learned the clean and jerk.
And then from here, just bring
yeah, you're just going to bring it down safely. Empty barbells. Don't just slam from the bottom. And then, bam, you're going to put it down. And we're going to high five. And then you're going to shake it up and do it again. Great job, Eris. You nailed it.
Okay. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you spent that time with her. And then she's getting a little bit more. She's still confused as shit, as you can hear from her tone and like everything else is going on. She's got a super big knee cave. She's overthinking it. She's kind of just mimicking what you're showing her. Not necessarily, she's not internalizing what she's actually doing. And the language you use, where you're going to clean and then you're going to jerk. I would say you could change that to, okay, put the bar on your shoulders. We're just going to jump. Just jump and punch, jump and land with it overhead. Make it so it's like, because right now she's still thinking Olympic lifts. And for her, that's inappropriate because she is not there, and I think you change the movement from a full clean to a power clean, right? Yeah. I might go the other direction and change it from a full clean instead of to a power clean, maybe change it to a hang squat clean. Say, don't even think about taking it from the ground. Just hold it at the waist. We're just going to jump and land with it on the shoulder. See what a hang power clean looks like. So a hang power clean, just that way they don't have to navigate the knees. So when we're looking to reduce complexity, the navigation of the knees and setting the back up in the right position each time, that's one of the hardest pieces. So if we can think to, okay, we'll just start it from the waist. So get a good deadlift in there. You can still teach that angle and stuff, but deadlift it up. Okay, now from here, you're just going to jump and land with it on your shoulder. Cool. Now jump and land with it overhead. Cool. And then you can even move her into a push jerk instead of a split jerk because she's so new. So it's like, instead of splitting your feet, I just want you to jump and land with it overhead. And I know that I know that the point was to teach a split jerk today, but if you were going to reduce the complexity and someone's this lost and like this confused as to what's going on, it's like totally appropriate to just be like, hey, we're focused on hip mechanics. We're just focusing on open and closing the hip. So what it's going to be is bar at the waist, jump and land with it on your shoulder. Great. Okay. The harder you jump, the faster that'll move. Then jump and land with it overhead. Cool. The jump is what moves the weight. How fast can we move and punch the elbows? Boom. Get a heavier load. Jump and land with it on your shoulders. So that way you focus on less overall.
Yeah.
Again, what you did, not incorrect. But
it's the context of jargon, right? Jargon.
Yeah.
In any industry, exercise.
Totally.
If you're just throwing and I'm just throwing words at this poor girl. If I'm
what's interesting though is she got it from you showing her. Like you watched her watch you in this, and she was mimicking you as you were doing it, which means she was probably just zoning out and just toning out whatever you were saying because she was hoping that she was going to get it from the visual of you. And I think that's one thing to note. Maybe she learns really well that way. But I think knowing your own language, especially in the simplicity of it with such a new person, be like, okay, stop thinking. Just hold the bar at your waist. Then she's holding it at her waist. Great. Now I want you to just jump and land with it on your shoulders like this. Okay, ready? Show me that. Boom. Okay, do the same thing, but a little faster elbows. Whoop. Oh, much better. So that's the first part of it. Now we're just going to think about jumping and landing with it overhead. Okay, now show me, and you go from there. So that way it's as she has to think about less, just like you're saying. Yeah, I would say there was a bit of jargon. You were trying to get her to clean and split jerk, and we want her to jump and land with it on her shoulder and jump and land with it overhead, especially with a noob like this. But what's interesting is like once you break out to the larger class, I think building the language in of like, okay, we're going to clean. Ready? When I say clean, you're going to clean it up to your shoulders. Ready and clean. Like that's totally appropriate. But once we have someone who's not getting it, boom, we got to zone in and be like, okay, let's make it as simple as possible. I think that type of what we're talking about would have worked really well for the girl in the front too, Joe. Like you can see people who are overthinking it because they're constantly like looking around to see if they're doing the right thing. They don't feel comfortable in what they're doing. But yeah, so I'd say as a larger theme, that those beats after reps during progressions, I want you to take those times to get the whole class in your vision. And that means that patterning is going to be a little bit slower, like a little bit slower for you than you want to move through it. Where to be like, when I say stand, you're going to stand up. When I say reset, you're going to reset. Ready and stand. And then you go, and you hit everyone real quick. Adjust your stance, lift your chest up, blah, 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 and reset. Go back down. Those times in between, you need a little bit longer, especially once it gets like, okay, we're going to do a clean. When I say clean, you do the full movement and land in the squat. Ready and clean. They land in the squat. Stop. Adjust feet, adjust knees, adjust elbows, blah, 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 blah. Like take that time to get the whole class in there and notice that somebody's standing there like this and be like, shit, what happened there? And use that as your litmus test to get those things earlier on kind of nipped in the butt. The flow is great, but this is going to chunk up your flow a bit. This is going to make it a little slower to make sure you're getting everything that you need earlier on. And again, this might have been a fabricated setting just due to the sense that you were recording it and you felt all that and you were trying to be robotic, but that was a common theme that I saw was like you're moving really quickly to the next piece before letting the piece that you were on do its job. Where I think you can move really quickly.
There's a level of naturalness to that jerk progression's a lot more natural than that initial clean.
Yeah.
I start to find my flow somewhere in here. This is a good evaluation of what is normal for me.
Cool. Well, dude, I love the effort and care you put into this and the fact that you had a bunch of coaches watching you and they moved the camera around and these people had a bang on fucking class. Even through this section of it, like that's leagues ahead of what I've seen in the last month, which is fantastic. I've seen other coaches' eyes that were also good, but what I've attended to gym wise, I was like, we're doing so good. Like, it's so weird because I'm in this space working for Best Hour with gyms who are trying to be better, and I drop into gyms that maybe they're trying to be better, but they have no oversight, and there's nobody being like, hey, this can be a lot different. And I feel really honored to be continuing to do this. So I understand that what we're giving is quite nuanced here, which is fun.
Yeah. Do we want to watch the whole class? I mean, we're an hour in. Like, are we going?
No, we don't want to watch the whole class. we want to end it there, and we want to make sure that you work on those things.
Yeah. This class progresses just fine. We still have some double unders to do. The class goes really well. There's lots of cool shit that happens. At the very end of class, Jake, who is at the back of the class, wants to do one final lift. But I've already entered sort of into cool down mode. So everybody's sort of in like pigeon position, reopening up their hips, and then he nails those lifts. There he is. Being badass all the way in the back of the room. He's shirtless now, so that means he exercised, and so he
is.
Everybody's watching.
Yeah, everybody's watching.
Mindset and that belt. We go again.
We're like cool downing, but Jake isn't.
Nice. Well, that's great. I mean, but this is cool. You know, this gives him a little stage. This is clearly something he wants to do. It's like super fun to work in this setting. Everybody's there with him. Like, this is community building, right? Like, and
everyone wants him to nail this lift.
Totally. And that's the shit right there. Oh, he needs to get under it. But but that's awesome.
All right, on your bums, take your legs, swing it.
Super cool, man. Like, I love it. That's so cool. And you know that that's important and so good. And that's what makes Mid-State Mid-State. So, like,
sure.
Legit sauce.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
It was a banger class. So I definitely want to, I don't know how the eye works, but hear me out. I'll work on my things and we'll do this again. It's very similar to what, I'm going to forget his name. Thin Air, Adam.
Yeah.
He did about 3 or 4 of these. And then he sent it for his L4 and he nailed it. And
he freaking nailed it. Good old Thin Air.
He nailed it. So I'm hoping to do something very similar. So I can if I could get with you and Cody and, take some time. Oddly, there is not a single L4 evaluation even scheduled for 2024 yet. So I don't know what's going on there, but
I think they're shaking some stuff up. They'll line those up a little bit more though, because they are popular. People enjoy them. And they're really good. They're a very valid representation of a good coach. And I'm big into them. And I think they've shook up our community a bit, which is cool. People are being like, oh, I need to be better. And they're showing up to those things. So it's great. Thank you for watching that. Just so you know, though, that is just the tip of the iceberg. If you found that helpful and you want more content just like that, we have hundreds of these videos in the knowledge. Everything from cues and tips and tricks to theory content that will flush out your understanding of everything we do in CrossFit. If you want to learn directly from me and do weekly calls where we do homework and everything in between, we also have the Knowledge Pro. If any of this sounds like your cup of tea, just click the link in the description for a free 7-day trial.